Okay, so we'll just get started right away. I'll just introduce us who we are. My name's Mrs. Bennett. I don't know if I think I've met most of you, and if not, hello, welcome to Asia Sumas. I've got here Vice Principal Suzanne Dallas, so she's here. She's going to be running everything because we are recording our voices on here for people that couldn't attend because it does have a lot of information, and then you'll also have a copy of it if you need to go back and kind of think, okay, what was it that they were talking about? This will all be recorded so you can do that. And then our counselor, Mrs. Kohut. So she's Jennifer Kohut is here. She has met with a lot of your kids already and will do so and be the person to talk to them over the years as we get into high school, which there's also lots of things going on. So first of all, we've got our teachers. Things change a little bit in that we go from having just 2 teachers plus our experienced teachers to having many teachers depending on what subjects they're in. They will all see Mrs. Manick and Mrs. Hotel. Mrs. Manick teaching our humanities and Mrs. Hotel teaching our sciences. Mr. Emery is our PE teacher who's teachers from grade 6 to 12. Mrs. Majewski, if the kids are enrolled in dance tech, they will be seeing her during linear block D. Ms. Thompson teaches our digital media art and our leadership classes. Mrs. Horner teaches drama. Mrs. Arafi is our brand new music teacher, and she teaches choir, band, and our jazz band and jazz choir, which is after school. And then Mrs. Beckett, who will teach one of our ADST classes, and we'll see all the kids for careers. And then we just got other people on there.
Oops.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay, sorry.
So bell schedule. This is for the kids to know, and it was very interesting. I had a chance to sit down with some of the kids today outside, and I was like, hey, so what do you find the difference between middle school and high school? And they're like, there's no nut break. I'm like, you got it. No nut break. You got to get to your classes. So definitely, it says nut morning on here, but that is for middle school. Our kids start at, the morning bell is at 8:16, and then classes start right at 8:20. So depending on what day it is, will be which block they're going to, and we'll talk about that with the schedule. 11:04 our lunch, and then they are back at 11:44 starting for their classes in the afternoon. There is a bell that goes out in 1:09, and that's for middle school so that they know that they have to be back in classes. But our kids, I think that's when our second, it starts right at 1:09 for our last block of the day. So the kids already have been released for high school, and they're down at their other classes. And then end of day is 2:28. So in middle school, they end at 2:09. So high school is there for just under an extra 20 minutes. Our schedule works a little bit different in high school, and now we run blocks. So for high school, you have 3 semester blocks. Those are your academics, the A, B, and C blocks. And so you'll see that on your sheet there. Those are your academics. And then we have our DE blocks, which are usually our arts blocks. DE blocks are linear in that they run all year. So you'll see that a D block shows up here on Monday afternoon and Wednesday afternoon, and E blocks are on Tuesday and Thursday. And then you get A, B, C every single day. So these are our academics depending on which stream they fall into. They go A, B, C here, and then B, A, C down here. It goes back and forth.
Thank you.
On Fridays is a little different. In that Fridays we have our flex block in the morning, which gives a chance for the kids to do a number of things. They can sleep in because we know teenagers do need extra sleep. They don't start until 9:20. This also gives them an opportunity for kids to come in if they've missed a day during the week, because the blocks are 80 minutes. They should be here for that. So if they've missed a day, they can come in and meet with their teachers. Their teachers have what we call office hours. They're available for extra work. All of our EAs are available. Our learning services teachers are here. They can do that. If they've missed a test or something, that might be a way to do it. Or if they need extra help, that's also available for them to come in. We also encourage them to go on a coffee date with you. As a parent of teenagers who are now 20 and 25, I guess they're not teenagers anymore, it's always really important to keep those lines of communication open. And teenagers, you may be seeing this already, they start to distance themselves from you a little bit, start to get kind of closed off. You're wondering, why aren't they talking to me so much? It's every teenager does it. Their friends become everything. And it's so important for them to have their friends around them because those relationships are really, really fragile. So they want to make sure they have that. They know that as parents, you're there for them. You've got their back all the time. They may be distancing themselves because they know you've always got you there. So the Friday morning, if you can make it, here's a great opportunity to take them out. Take them out, get them talking, have coffee, go to Starbucks, go to Tim Hortons, something like that. Get a chance to use that hour before they go into school. If they're on the bus and they have to get here because the buses don't run any differently on Fridays, we do have opportunities for the kids to do volunteering. We have our middle school does our Flex Fridays in the morning, so they have the different things that they do, everything from leadership to we're doing Dungeons and Dragons this year. Mm-hmm. We're doing choir, anything like that. They're welcome to come in and help out with that, and that's something that we love to see our secondaries do, is to do that. And they can get a chance to get ahead. So even if they're here, they might want to work ahead. They might want to do some studying, meeting up with friends, all of those things. It's kind of an opportunity on Friday morning to do that, and the kids really enjoy that. Oh, can you go just back?
Oh, sorry.
On the bottom is the sheet that's on the back, which is the one that has all of the dates. Fridays always run a little bit differently in that we have our flex block in the morning of 8:20 to 9:20, and then we have what we call our extended block. And this extended block here from 9:20 to 11:04, which is an extra 20 minutes, runs either block A, block B, or block C. And it depends on which day. That's why this is so important, is because if you line it up, you can look at September, for example, here. And then if you were to find the date, this is actually from a couple of years ago, but if you were to find the date and it was Friday the 16th, you would know that B block is in the morning. So this is your extended block. In the afternoon, we would run A, C, and D. So like I said, every single day, students will get A, B, and C blocks, and then it's always the D and the E block that changes. So in the afternoon for this day, it would be A block in the morning, they get the full one, and then they might have B, C, and D in the afternoon. So this kind of really helps them, and we kind of train them. And once they figure it out, they're like, oh yeah, I get that. And we just put every single day on here. So Monday to Thursdays, they're always usually the same. It's just the Fridays that are always a little bit different. You'll see a couple of other ones on here. So for example, in October, we've got the 18th and 19th where it says ABC in the morning. Those are on the 18th and 19th. Those are the parent-teacher interview days. So that's why they run ABC in the morning, which means they go home at lunch. We'll just run shorter blocks, but they still get a chance to check in with their teacher for those academic blocks. They're making sure they have A, B, and C. Because remember, this is a semester class. They are finished at the end of January. So we want to make sure we get as many minutes in with them as possible. We have career days on the 27th, and that means in the morning of the Friday after our flex block, our kids will go according to their grades. So all the grade 9s will get together and they will meet with Mrs. Beckett. Grade 10s meet with Mr. Huntley, grade 11s meet with me, and grade 12s meet with Mrs. Kohut. And we talk about things that are to do with school, careers, anything like that, work habits and stuff like that as a group. And so it's like a whole grade group, and it gets a chance for us to really kind of get into some of those things. We also have, don't you know? We also have credit recovery days. So on November 24th, for example, that day is for students who maybe need to come in and get some things done. So we've put one in halfway through the semester, and we've said, okay, here's your credit recovery day. If you need to catch up on things, this is the day you need to be at school, because we're going to make sure that we get you through, because that's the last thing we want to do is end up at the very end of the semester and they're like, so how do I get my marks to go up? And it's like, well, had you create a time machine, you could go back and start again. So we want to make sure that we're catching them as they go. So we've got credit recovery days built into the middle of the class of the semester. And then we also have credit recovery day as the last day of the semester, which is January 26th. And that's how that runs. Okay, now
I can press it. Okay.
The careers. Actually, maybe I'll let you talk about a little bit about this if you're okay.
Sure. So Mrs. Beckett is our grade 9 careers teacher, and she will use those careers days to kind of roll out the careers curriculum, but quite often she also pairs with especially our English and our social studies teacher, Mrs. Manick, to embed these careers concepts within those courses. So at the grade 9 level, it's just a little bit more global around personal development and goal setting, a lot of reflection, connecting to the community, looking around them globally and what the needs are, talking about subjects such as volunteering, and then just the beginning touches on, life and career planning, like what might graduation requirements need, and the grad path starts at grade 10 onwards. So it's just a little taste of what will grad requirements be, what are the role of mentors and people in the community and school in their lives, how to use technology, how to create portfolios online, and how to use and have a safe digital footprint, workplace safety, and so forth. So it's a little bit of everything, and it will get embedded into a lot of the subjects. And then she runs it. You'll see it's some quick and easier assignments that will just be run through like well, it was Google Classroom, but it'll be Microsoft Teams. And so she'll have some quick and easy assignments. Yeah. When we get to the grade 10 level, then it becomes a semestered course at the grade 10 level.
And then if you want to take a note of November 1st, 2023, that is Take Your Kid to Work Day. We ask that the grade 9s don't come to school that day, and they take an opportunity to either go with you or maybe somebody that they know, that they just go and shadow them for the day. And it's a really great opportunity. Like if they're thinking, I want to be a teacher, connect with another teacher and say, hey, could my daughter or my son come in and shadow you for the day? And then what they will do with that is afterwards, Mrs. Beckett will kind of run a reflection about that. Like, how was it? What did you learn? Is it something that you're interested in? And have that share out. So November 1st, that is the day. If by any chance you don't have anything and you can't do that, they can still come to school, but there won't be any classes going on that day for grade 9s. It's strictly working, so we'll have other things going on for them. Okay, very important. My education. This is where you need to be involved. This is where you will find your students or your kids will have their marks. They will have their missing assignments. They will have things going on. Make sure you are on top of this. You can think that they are going to be on top of it. You need to help them through with this, right? So take this down. If you don't know their login, they should. And if they don't know it, please call into the office, tell Ms. Gunia who you are, and she'll help you get that reset. The kids should be able to share that password with you because it's important that you know. And I don't care if the kids say, oh, no, it's my password, I can't. I'm sorry, you're their parent. You need to know what's going on. This also shows up for their attendance and report cards. This is how you'll find the report cards. We won't be sending report cards home anymore. It's going to be on here. So you need to be able to know what this is and how to get on it. So when we always say do the MyEd, we always talk about MyEd as being like just my education. This is what you're looking for.
Do we need 2 logins then if we have 2 kids? Like we need both their passwords?
Yes. Yeah, you'll have to have the 2 logins. Yes, because it goes by their login, I think, is their student number. And then they make up the password. But Mrs. Gunia can always reset it for you if you don't have it.
And a good point to note on there, it says will not work on phones.
Yes.
So many people try to open this website on their phone and log in.
Yeah.
And it will just cause it to not work.
Spin.
And then you'll have to reset the password no matter what.
It asks you to reset your password a lot.
It does. We get it. This is what we use it every 3 months. I think we have to reset it. So all I do is, I don't know about you, but all I do is change like the last number, right?
Yeah,
I'll have a word and then a number, and then it just keeps going up. This year with the K-9 reporting order from the government, you might have heard about this on the news, that we are now continuing with the emerging, developing, proficient, extending into grade 9. This is brand new for us. Last year we were still doing letter grades. This year the government has decided to go with this up to grade 9. So you know this because you've probably been working with it for many years. It's the same thing. Be looking at it for that as to how your student or how your child is doing over the years. But this is what they have. All right, this is where I get to introduce. This is Mrs. Kohut. Mrs. Kohut lives and breathes this. And yes, your child is graduating in 2027. That's not that far away. It's less than 4 years away. So we're going to talk about that.
So grade 9 is an important year. It's more of a foundational year though. So all students in grade 9 take English, math, social science, PE, careers, ADST, which stands for Applied Designs and Skills Technology, and then usually 2 electives. And so what changes in grade 9 is that those core courses like the English, the socials, and so forth do need to be successfully passed in order to move on to the grade 10 courses. But the actual path for graduation, the courses where we count up all the credits, is grades 10, 11, and 12. So grade 9 is super important and it's foundational and it is needed to be successfully passed in order to move on. But then we will start counting from the grade 10 level onwards. So with the BC government, a minimum of 80 credits is required over grades 10, 11, 12 to graduate. We have a whole range. We have students that graduate with 100, 110, 120, 125 credits. And that's totally possible. For example, say they're involved in jazz band or vocal jazz outside of school time. They might take a few online courses on the side, such as, say, Psychology 11. So there's a whole variety of ways to attain credits. And so a minimum of 80 is needed over the 3 years. And then there's a bit of a breakdown for what that looks like. Of the 80 credits required, there needs to be at least 16 credits, which is 4 courses at the grade 12 level. This must include English 12, Careers 12, that's CLC 12, Career Life Connections 12, and a minimum of 2 more grade 12 courses. Now, just to kind of keep the eye on some of our local universities, a university like UFE, quite often the entrance requirements is English 12 plus 2 other acceptable grade 12 courses. But of course, a school such as UBC or UVic are looking for 5 to 6 grade 12 courses. And they love to see a wide breadth of things. So that's electives and academic courses. But a minimum of 4 courses at the grade 12 level is needed. Of the minimum 80 credits, they also need 28 credits of electives, which is 7 elective courses over grades 10, 11, 12. But I actually count for 8. The reason I count for 8 is on this compulsory list here, the very bottom requirement says all students need to have an arts education or applied design skills technology course, which is pretty much any of our electives. And so that's built into the compulsory. So when I sit down with students, and I always do it in their grade 11 going into grade 12 year, and like now September in grade 12, I always say, where are we at? Because we need 7 plus 1 more, so we need a minimum of 8 electives over the 3 years. And that can be a combination of grades 10, 11, and 12 courses. The next set of criteria is all the compulsory courses. It's 52 credits. So that would be, there's Careers 10, which is CLE 10, Career Life Education 10, and Careers 12. We do break up the Careers 12 into 2 pieces. Schools have a lot of flexibility, so from school to school, Careers 12 might look a little bit different, but the way we do it here is we will do 2 credits of Careers 12 in the grade 11 year. That's going to be some manageable online assignments. And then in the grade 12 year, we do the other 2 credits, which is mandatory for all students in BC. It's to do a capstone project. So a capstone project is a 30-hour project that focuses on a career or a life interest that they have. It's actually an incredible project because they choose something of their own interests. So it could be exploring, I want to become a veterinarian. How would I go about doing that? So maybe they spend their whole 30-hour project investigating how would they do that. Maybe they go and interview a veterinarian. Maybe they take a look at a few different schools to go to and what are the entrance requirements? What would I need to do? Would something require a portfolio? Do I need volunteer hours, right? So they can investigate a career, or they could do a deep dive in any other way. And so that is a 30-hour project at the grade 12 level. So that's why we break it up into 2 pieces. It's just more manageable. They need PE 10. After that, PE is optional. So it might be like active living 11, but that would be optional. Science 10 is needed, and then a science 11 or 12. So we need at least 1 science 11 or 12. So that could be Chem 11, Physics 11, Anatomy 12, and so forth. Many students, especially those who are aspiring to go on to schools such as UBC, SFU, UVic, and apply for specific programs, they'll probably want several grade 12 or 11 and 12 science courses. They need a socials 10 and then a socials 11 or 12. There's a lot of courses that satisfy that socials 11 or 12 aspect. That could be law, it could be social justice, social studies 11, explorations 11. But another possibility, which is one listed below it, is Indigenous studies. So this is a brand new requirement by the government for grads of 2024 onwards. Every grad must have an Indigenous studies course at the grade 10, 11, or 12 level. They tend to kind of be in two categories. It could be an English-based Indigenous studies course. It's called English First Peoples, EFP, and that is English First Peoples 10, which we're starting to offer this year. There is English First Peoples 12 course. There is an Contemporary Indigenous Studies, CIS 12, and there's a couple more that fit that. So a course such as Indigenous Studies 12, it kind of hits a lot of things. It's a socials course needed to graduate. It's a grade 12 course, and it's also an Indigenous credit. So it's sort of a triple threat of a course, for example. So we will make sure that all students have an Indigenous Studies course. So for the last couple of years, we've been doing the Contemporary Indigenous Studies 12. Now we're kind of gearing into the English First Peoples 10 and making sure that they get that course credit earlier on the grad pathway. We need a Math 10 and then a Math 11 or 12. So at the grade 9 level, all students take foundations of Math 9. And then at the grade 10 level, it's going to split into two pieces.
Which we have another.
Yeah. And we're going to see that on the next slide so we can actually see the pathway. And then they will go on and make one more choice at the grade 11 level. A language arts 10, 11, and 12 course is needed. So that's like an English 10, 11, 12. And then at least one other arts education or applied design elective-based course. And then finally, to round out all the grad requirements, all grade 10s need to write a numeracy exam and a literacy 10 exam. And then after English 12, they'll write a literacy 12 exam. So I believe we have another slide on that too. All right, so the ones that we kind of have a bit of a breakdown here, Science 9 leads to Science 10. And then they need at least one more Science 11 or 12 to graduate. So here are some of the options that we offer here at our school. So Life Science 11 is Biology 11, the study of plants and animals. Anatomy 12 is Biology 12, the study of the human body. So the biology-based courses, the life science and the anatomy, they're standalone courses. A student could take one, they could take the other, they could take them both at the same time, they can take them in any order. They're just standalone, and so students are welcome to do them like that. But courses such as chemistry and physics are prerequisite courses. Students must take chemistry 11 in order to move on to chemistry 12. Same thing with physics. They must take physics 11 in order to move on to physics 12. Several times in the last few years, we've also been able to offer specialized science 12. And that there's a lot of flexibility in that science course. And here at our school, we typically use that course to focus on the science behind all the arts that we do here at the school. So what's the science behind motion and music and dance and things like that, and really incorporating hands-on artistic aspects within the science course. You may have heard of courses such as Earth Science, or there's one called Science for Citizens 11. We don't offer that here at Asia, but that is an option, such as through the virtual school a student could take. Science for Citizens would be sort of perhaps a little bit of an easier basic breadth of a science course. So in terms of the sciences, students need a minimum of one science here at the grade 11 or grade 12 level. Many students will choose to take several if they need it. But the thing to be thinking about, and this is on the onus of the student and the families, is every single post-secondary institution, university, will have different entrance requirements. every program at their school, specific program, will have different entrance requirements as well. So if a student wants to go into engineering at UBC, it would be, what do I need to get into UBC in general just to be accepted as a student? And then what does the engineering program at the Vancouver campus of UBC require for their requirements? Do they want Physics 11 and Physics 12 and so forth? So it's investigating what they think they might be interested in, and then looking at entrance requirements and program specific requirements. And sometimes campuses can have two different entrance requirements, such as UBC Okanagan might have a different requirement for that program than UBC Vancouver campus will. So it's just looking and investigating. On the math route, all students take Math 9. They split at the grade 10 level. This FOM 10 is short for Foundations of Math and Pre-Calc 10. Most grade 10 students will go into this course here. Some students, though, with the input of their grade 9 math teacher and families, may go on to Workplace Math 10. That Workplace does meet graduation requirements, the Workplace route. But it typically leads on to more graduating from high school, going into some of the trades programs, diploma type programs, some things at our local university. But students who perhaps are bound to study at university, like humanities or math, science, medical, engineering, and so forth, will want to go this route. So at the grade 10 level, this will split for one more choice. Pre-calculus 11 and 12 are for students looking for engineering, medicine, sciences, going that route. Students who are doing the Foundations of Math route will satisfy most entrance requirements to many programs, but this is typically, it'll be a bit more humanities based. A student who wants to go on to become a social studies teacher in high school, for example, the Foundations Math route would be perfectly acceptable for that. And as I said, the Workplace Math route does meet graduation requirements, but it can be just a little bit more limiting at times, going directly into some programs, and may require some upgrading later.
So we do have some provincial graduation assessments that run. There is nothing for their grade 9 year, so they don't have to worry about that. Once they get to grade 10, we start scheduling them in for their assessment. There's the grade 10 numeracy assessment and the literacy assessment. We try to marry it up with whatever class they're doing. So for example, if they're in the Math 10 class, we will have that assessment going on just at the very end of that Math 10. And same thing with literacy, we'll kind of pair it up when they're doing the English. This just kind of helps the kids when they're in math brain and then they can do math class. It can be the kids write this and all they have to do is write it. So it's a computer-based one, and they are given either 1, 2, 3, or 4. So they're looking at, it's just basically on their transcript saying that, yes, I've done it, 1 being the lowest, 4 being the highest, and they can rewrite it up to 3 times. So if they go through it and they're like having a bad day, or they're like, no, I want to try better, they can come back, we'll sign them up, and they can write it again sometime the following year or the year after that. They have that option to do it. But it's really just for them so that it's similar to the FSAs that they've done in grade 7 or grade 4. They do it again at the grade 10 level. So it's kind of covering everything from kindergarten right up to grade 10. The numeracy one is very word-based problems, so they have to kind of work through that. But our teachers are really good at kind of getting them into that and prepping them and getting them into that mindset. In the grade 11 year, they don't write anything unless they've missed writing it in the grade 10. Then we will reschedule them for the grade 11. And then in grade 12, they do the literacy assessment for that. And again, they can also write that one up to 3 times. And that one's done in conjunction when they do their English 12 class.
These ones also are scheduled by the ministry. They're not scheduled by our school. So if your child misses it for any reason or isn't able to come that day, they will not be able to write it. It's not a rewrite. They'll have to wait till the next round of writes.
So there's one session that goes in January, and we do one session in January and one session in June. Sometimes other schools will run them at different times. And if you are on it and you're like, oh, we need to get this done, or so-and-so wasn't there, we can help you figure out what school to go to, and you can do it as a walk-in at another school. But pass-through that is. Do you want to explain how it works with the universities, or?
Yeah, so universities are just kind of figuring out what to do with these provincial assessments. So far, from what I've heard, only UBC has declared a requirement that on the grade 12 literacy assessment, a score of a 3 or a 4 on the rubric is required to gain entrance into UBC. So UBC, will have a high caliber of applicants and a large number of applicants from around the world applying, and so they have determined a 3 or a 4 on the literacy 12 only is required just as a general entrance requirement to UBC.
Careers.
Yeah,
This is you as
excellent.
well.
I'll just mention, just before I go on to careers, just the note of languages.
Yeah.
So a language is not required to graduate anymore as one of the graduation requirements. However, students who are bound to schools such as UBC and SFU directly from grade 12 into university need up to and including a grade 11 level language. So in the case of French, that would be French 9, then French 10, then French 11. In the case of Spanish, it goes a little bit different. It's Spanish introductory 11, then Spanish 10, then Spanish 11. Other students might go on and online study Japanese, German, and so forth. So it's not required as a part of the minimum 80 credits, but UFE doesn't require it for general entrance. UVic no longer requires it, but UBC and SFU do. So once again, it's one of those school-specific programs. And so students here, just like any other school, they could take it online. So some students elect to, just along their high school years, this year I'm going to plug away at, French 9, then next year I'm going to do French 10 on the side, and then French 11. Some students come to us and ask for a learning support block to be able to do some of those online courses that they haven't been able to take in school. All right. Look. Here's Chief. You're welcome.
And we do offer every year, we offer during course selection, whether students want to take French 9 or French 10, we put it out there. We can only offer it if we get a number of students that want to take it. So that's why some years we don't have it. This is one of the years we don't have French 9. But if a student is very interested in that, that's when they come down to talk to Mrs. Kohut. She will help you figure out how to do it online. And it's not difficult. We do it. I think we do it through Vancouver, right? The Vancouver online class.
Yeah, they can do it anywhere in British Columbia.
Yeah.
Quite a few of our students do VLN, Vancouver Learning Network. They do offer French 9 online. So quite a few of our students, I direct them that way and they do it successfully. When the course is completed, it just automatically shows up on the transcripts. Mm-hmm. All right, so another one of my hats at the school is I'm our school's district career and trades program facilitator. Every single high school has one. The students at our high school here have equal opportunity to get into the district careers and trades programs, just like they would at any other school. I've got some personal experience in this. My stepson, AJ, did the welding program in grade 12, so he finished all of his needed compulsory courses to graduate by his grade 11 year. So he worked with the school counselor to do that. Then in his grade 12 year, he was out at UFE Chilliwack all day, every day welding in their program there, and ended the program in May on a Friday, and on the Monday morning stepped into a job with benefits, welding with a good wage. And the real special thing about this is the school district pays the tuition. So a program such as heavy equipment operator could range from, say, $18,000 to $25,000 to take it on their own after high school. If they do it within high school, it's free. So this is a really awesome opportunity. We love to tell students about this early, like around the grade 9 level, so they can start thinking about it. Because what we would love to see happen is by the time grade 10 course planning comes around, that we kind of know that there's an interest there, because we're going to need just to do some special planning with timetabling to make sure we get in all those things. For example, English 10, 11, and 12, we would need to make sure we get English 10 done in grade 10. And in the grade 11 year, we need to make sure in semester 1 we have English 11 done, and in semester 2 we have English 12 done, so that they're totally free to go in their grade 12 year and take advantage of the program. So there's tons of opportunities, a whole wide range of things. So things such as architectural drafting, so drawing up like housing plans on the CAD programs. Cybersecurity is a really great one that does not require leaving this building at all. It's done as 4 online courses through the Palo Alto Networks program. And so that's just done in-house here, but it's built into their timetables. There's automotive service technician for working on cars, carpentry, electrician, hairstylist, heavy equipment operator, professional cook, welding, aviation, and there's more coming along. A brand new one last year was ECE, early childhood education. And so some of these are a 1 semester program, some are 2 semesters, some have fixed start and end dates that this program runs, say like electrical runs August of going into grade 12 to end of January of grade 12. So that's a very fixed date. But there are some flexibility for programs like Pro Cook. There's a September start, there's a February start. They can do it in grade 11, they can do it in grade 12, depending on their age and where their birthday falls. With Pro Cook, hair, and carpentry, there's even a possibility of a year 13. So actually graduating, walking the stage, and then staying on the books a little bit longer to do a free program. So there are a few fees, like there might be fees, say for like having like a welding mask or having the chef's outfit and some textbooks. But other than that, the tuition is paid for. So it really gives students a leg up on walking out of high school with something great for their resume, perhaps some transferable skills. Some of them will use it to pay to put themselves through university, because they'll have a higher wage job. Others want to work up and become Red Seal in their chosen area. And so it's just really excellent opportunities. I would be happy to just speak with families and students about those opportunities.
Yeah, we push this a lot because we know how awesome this opportunity is. And we also know that how well our kids do in the programs because they just have this great experience here and they understand the whole hands-on learning thing, which we do at our school. So it's easier for them to go in. Right now we have somebody in electrical, right?
Yes, and cybersecurity. There are a few that are called regional career programs, so there's even some more opportunities. So we have someone doing the heavy duty mechanic training program. There's also things like pipe fitting, so there's a whole millwork. There's a whole range of things. There's even agriculture through Quantland. So there's a wide breadth of things. Also, the information for some other really cool opportunities runs through this department, which I give out to students. There's the opportunity for Junior Police Academy in the grade 12 year. There's opportunity for Junior Fire Academy, which can be done grade 11, grade 12. There is grief training through the hospice where students get trained with other high school students around the topics of grief. That can be really excellent for all of us entering into all aspects of our lives and relationships with people, but also especially those students who are thinking, I might want to become a nurse or a doctor or a teacher. I'm going to work with kids, so the topic of grief and loss and doing training through the hospice is a really neat opportunity as well.
Okay. That's pretty much where we are. This is, I know, a lot of information thrown at you, but we are recording this so you can go back. We are here as your information. So if you have any questions, please ask us. Send an email to Mrs. Kohat, send an email to one of us. We'll help you through. There's lots going on for sure. The kids won't bring home all this information. They'll be like, yeah, we can do it. But it's really good for you to have an understanding of what goes on because these next 4 years kind of build on each other every year. So we want to make sure that keeping up with their assignments, coming to school, attendance is huge. We need to have you here. Doing all that, make sure that you're keeping in communication with them. They stop talking, try to figure out a way how to get them to talk, right? So open-ended questions, don't just ask, how was your day? Because you'll always get it's fine. What did you do today? What'd you learn? Exactly. Who are your teachers? Like, get to know their teachers. We have our Meet the Teacher event coming up on the 26th. come out and meet every single one of their teachers. Bring your kids with you and have them take you around to meet the teachers, because in secondary, they're all over the place. They're upstairs, they're downstairs here, they're out in the portables, they're all over the place. They've got all sorts of new teachers to learn from, and it's really good for you to have those connections with it. If you have specific questions about the classes or about assignments or things like that, reach out to the teachers. They are going to be the ones. If you reach out to one of us, we're just going to direct you to them anyways, because we're not sure exactly what's going on. But if you do have questions about careers or pathways, right, most of them, and then we're just going to direct you there. But if you do have questions about careers or pathways and stuff like that, that's where we come in to help you out with that. So yeah, and I think that's unplug, make them unplug. They come in, they'll come in the morning, but we're pretty conscious about their phones right now. They haven't been able to have phones up to grade 9, so now they have them. Yeah, some of the teachers still say, put your phone away, let's go, focus on what you're doing. So you can help us out with that. Anyways, Annie, I think that's it, right? Do we have anything else? Oh, School Cash Online. Haha. Yes, I did add that one, didn't I? This is another website you need to make sure that you are on. School fees, permission forms, all of this needs to be done. We have Spiritware that will be coming up if you want to buy that off of there, band fees, things like that. We don't accept cash at our school, but this would be where you have. And any school fees need to be paid, because when you get to grade 12, you have to pay all of those before the kids can walk the stage. So try to keep up on it, because we get the ones where they're like, that's a lot of money. I'm like, well, it's been 4, 6, 8 years, and that all adds up. So make sure you take a look at that and know what you're in for. Also, field trip permission forms no longer go home with writing. They're all on here. If you haven't been on lately, there's a new one on there about the walking one. We have to have that for everybody. It's really just clicking it off and just saying you're done. We don't have to worry about making sure chasing kids or anything. Now we're chasing the parents to say, have you done this? Please check the box. So anything like that.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's
it. Just encouragement. So any questions? Anybody have anything they want to ask that we can hopefully answer? Yes.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
What do the kids do in ADST? What
Oh,
sort of things
sure.
happen?
So that is called Applied Design Skills and Technology. And that is a really neat course in that our teachers have taken it as being a passion project course. So the kids will say, I want to learn a new skill. And it might be everything from, what have we had? We've had 3D printing, we've had crochet, we've had, they just want to learn something new. And so the teachers will help them create kind of a plan how they're going to learn that. And then they walk them all the way through. And then by the end of the course, they're doing a presentation in front of their friends as to what they've learned. What's that?
Sign language is another one.
Sign language, another one. Yeah. Like, what do you want to learn? Right. So what are your passions? And both of our teachers, Mrs. Hotel and Mrs. Beckett, it's a very open course, but they're required. Like, they do signposts. Okay, you're meeting with me today. Tell me what you've done. Where are you? What's next? And so they really push them along. And it's a great course to kind of get into that independent project learning that they'll be required to do in the next 2 years. So it's a great course. It's awesome.
Awesome. And I had just had another question
about
the this was really good, and it was a lot of information about like for when they get into university, but I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
Is there someone here that helps them plan this?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And that's, so that's what we do. So grade 10, the actual grade 10 careers course is a lot of that. They learn how to they update their resume. They start investigating where they want to go. So grade 10's that, okay. And Mr. Huntley will be like, okay, you want to go into be education? What do you need to do? Which courses are you taking? Are you taking the right courses? Are you going the right direction? What school do you want to go to? So they do all of that, and they really do a deep dive into what exactly they want to do. And he's very supportive. When they get to grade 11, they get to me, because I get to teach the grade 11 careers. We do the same thing. We update our resume again. Do the skills. Is this where you want to go? Are you on the right path? What kind of things are you doing for yourself? So all of that. And then in grade 12, we help them once again to make sure that they are signing up. Because right now, the grade 12s, they're already, October 1st, the universities start opening and start accepting their stuff, right? So we try to get them ready to go with that. But If you saw on our Instagram yesterday, we just had a student come by yesterday who decided she wanted to do curation, art curation, and restoration. And she went off to Wales and did all the deep dive kind of thing, investigated herself, figured out what she needed, went to Wales and is just finishing up her BA in that, and will do her master's degree in art curation and stuff. So it's open. Everything's open. We have lots of experience. My daughter went to university in the States, so I kind of have a little bit of information on that. Mrs. Kohut's got the information about going through the careers program. We'll also throw things at them like dogwoods and scholarships and all those things that come along. But yeah, we will help them. We won't leave them with it all. But yeah, it's a good thing too. If they do have any questions, make an appointment with Mrs. Kohut. She'll sit down with them and go through. And in grade 12, she goes through everything with them, making sure we have all those 80 credits to graduate, because that's the worst thing to have to do. And I've heard about it when you get to the end after spring break and all of a sudden Johnny's gone, I don't have enough credits to graduate. Why don't you have enough credits to graduate? So here we are very much on top of it and make sure that they know what they need.
Yeah. We'll also do another parent night.
Yes. Yeah, for grads.
Grade
Yeah.
12.
Grade
We'll
12.
go over those grad credits again. And like I said, in the September, the grad year, I go over with a fine tooth comb. I sit with every single student. We take a look exactly what their credits are. What are you missing? Do we have it planned for this year? Does it fit into the timetable? Do we have a plan to get that course that you just weren't quite able to get? And what is that going to look like? And then that's always sent home to the parents.
Yeah.
So the students bring it home as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also walk the grade 12 students through as well, setting up a BC transcript service account, because that is the new way of receiving transcripts and sending them to universities. So the old way used to be go to the office secretary, pay your $10, get your sealed envelope, but that doesn't happen anymore. So it's more like an online shopping cart where you select the schools you want to go to. You give permission for them to receive it. You follow through the process like a shopping cart process, hit checkout. And it's got like sort of like a bill date where it shows like on this date you authorized UFE for the next year to look at your transcripts and so forth. So schools such as UBC, for example, they start accepting for early acceptance. The deadline is December 1st. And that's also for the early entrance scholarships. So already by December 1st of a grade 12 year, they're already pulling the transcript, looking at grade 11 and what they're doing grade 12 thus far. Mm-hmm. What do they have planned? And so the schools, they start doing it early. So I walk the students through how to use BC Education Planner to apply for universities, how to set up their transcripts accounts, how to apply for scholarships, the Dogwood Scholarship and so forth. So there's lots of information that they'll receive.
And we'll often get compliments on how well-rounded our kids are because they get a chance to do a lot of these art courses or the courses that they have. And so their transcript in there looks really good. They're not just strictly sciences. They've got these art classes. Maybe they were in band, maybe they were in musical theater, all these other things. So it's really nice to kind of have that big breadth because the schools are looking for that. They don't just want the top marks. They want to see who you are as a person as to what you're showing off. So it's nice. It's nice to have.
Also do really well with scholarships
as
well.
Oh man.
Through the years of being in an integrated arts school, they've developed skills of public speaking and making presentations in front of others, talking about the process and not just the end result.
Yeah.
So they're able to talk about their work in engaging ways. And I constantly hear from places like the Community Foundation, like, your students shone on their applications.
Yeah.
And so we get really good feedback about that.
We're very proud of them. Any other questions? Again, if you have anything, please reach out. You might think of something, but we will have this. We're going to send this out to all the parents so that they have it for those that couldn't arrive. But I do appreciate you coming in to doing this. This is important. And it's nice to kind of get an idea of what's coming because welcome to high school. Here we are.